Hello and welcome back to another episode of The Spirit of Creating. And in today's episode, I wanted to take a look at the concept of waiting. And when it comes to your creativity, are you sitting in the waiting room? And you might think you're waiting for extra time, money, support, inspiration, guidance. And what if it never came? What if your name never gets called out in this waiting room? You just sit there and wait and nothing happens. You would have to eventually leave the waiting room and choose yourself. And choosing yourself could look like 100 different things, but it could look something as small as going to the shop and buying a sketchbook and then just deciding to carry it around with you all day, every day. And anytime you get an extra 5 minutes, you pull it out and you make a quick sketch, you doodle. It could be something as simple as connecting with another creative friend and saying, let's arrange a coffee lunch date once a month where we sit down and talk all things creative and we action our ideas and we hold each other accountable and we make it fun, relaxed, but we still show up and create some art. Because, we enter the waiting room because we set such high expectations for ourselves. We decide we're going to make art, and that could look like writing a book, creating a piece of visual art, poetry, and we decide it has to be the best art that we've ever made. And so we set ourselves up to fail, and we scare ourselves into even trying because our expectations are so high. And I'm a great advocate for breaking everything down to the slowest and smallest common denominator and taking the pressure off and just saying, what about we make some tiny, small slivers of adjustments to our daily habits where we let a little bit of creativity slip in and have a space. And it could be anything, 5 minutes, 15, nothing extravagant, and aim to make whatever art shows up that day. And it could be absolutely diabolical, and that's allowed. Because we've kind of got it all the wrong way around. We sit and then we wait for inspiration as opposed to creating. And in the act of creating, finding that inspiration lives there. And we decide that we have to be the best artist we could ever be and create this phenomenal art straight off the bat. And what if you're meant to make the most terrible art consistently and develop to then create art that you perceive to be great art? What if everything's the opposite way around to what we think it is? And if that's the case, we can all just stop waiting for anything outside of ourselves and start applying, even in the smallest of spaces and in the smallest of times, where we decide that we're going to create the art we would like to make. And if it doesn't quite match what we want from our imagination, we just carry on, because one day it will start matching what you've envisaged for it. But you have to have shown up along the way. You have to have left the waiting room and begun making moves. And the moves can be completely minute, but they all add up. It's all cumulative. It's compound interest on your creativity. And it's worth leaving the sphere of waiting and wanting something else to show up before we show up for ourselves and our creativity. So if you have any questions on this topic, I'd love to hear from you, and you can contact me at illustratingrain@gmail.com, and I will be back again next week.